I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me. I'm super pumped.
Yeah, awesome. I'm really excited too. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I love your voice. I love your songs.
Thank
Incredible.
you. Thank you so much. I really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
of course. Our podcast, I'm not sure how familiar you are, but it's all about your journey in the music industry and how you got to where you are today.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Cool. Faouzia, how did you get into music originally? Or where are you from? Tell me about where you're from.
I am originally from Morocco,
Wow.
and I moved when I was super little. I was around 1 year old, and my parents moved to Canada, Manitoba. And I lived in Winnipeg for like a little bit, but then I eventually just moved to Carmen, Manitoba, and it's a really small town outside of Winnipeg. And yeah, it's just like kind of in the middle of nowhere, very small community. But it gave me a lot of time to explore different things like music, filmmaking. I'd always spend my time just, just filling it up with anything creative.
Sure. Wow. You said filmmaking. Did you have like a little handy cam? You'd go around and make short videos and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. I would either try to film funny skits and then show them to my parents like every day. I'm like, look at this. Like I made up this like silly little video, and they were always like, wow. It was like really bad. And then, or I would film my little sister and like try to make like funny videos of her, and then she would join me in little skits and stuff, or just vlogging, whatever it was. I would just try to, I don't know, fill my time up with that.
I love it. Did any of those make it on YouTube? Any of your
Oh,
early videos?
oh my goodness, yes, but I took them down, and I'm so happy because they're so embarrassing. Like,
Oh,
I remember just like putting on glasses and acting like a little like, I don't know, just like a goof, and it was just not it.
that's amazing. How did you get into music?
So I've always loved playing music. I remember specifically like when I was really young, I would just sing for fun all the time when we'd go camping, or just yeah, all the time. And my older sister got enrolled in piano lessons before me. And
Oh,
I remember just being so jealous. I was like, Mama, Baba, like when can I do piano lessons? Like I want to start right away. And they're like, just wait, like when you start school. And I remember they wouldn't really like allow super young kids to start out, just because like they would get
like attention span isn't there and
yeah,
stuff?
distracted, and you're just like really young. But my
Yeah,
parents were like, no, she really wants to do this. Like, we promise she'll be like very attentive, and she'll listen and practice. And so
sure.
they took me in, and that was the journey of my classical piano training. And
Wow.
I took like 11 years of it, and I remember doing exams for it as well. And yeah, it was like a really long journey, but has definitely helped me with, I don't know, just like patience and learning how to like be hardworking, and just practicing even when I don't really feel like it. And yeah.
Sure. You actually were asking your parents for piano lessons. I find that really, really cool because most of the time it's, the parents going, you're going to do piano lessons. And then the kid's like, no, I don't want to do piano lessons. But that's so amazing that you actually were, the
Yeah.
person asking to do it. That's
Yeah, and
amazing.
my parents, like my mom always wanted her children to like play music.
Hmm.
But I don't know, I guess she just got lucky that we were just like, yeah, I actually really want to do it. But
Yeah.
even when they were like picking a house to move into, their rule was that there needed to be a piano in there,
Oh, wow.
like any type of piano. And so the house that we bought had like an upright piano, and my mom was like, this is the one, because they really just wanted to make sure that we had that there.
That's amazing. You said your sister plays too. What
Yeah.
does she still perform?
No, right now she eventually like became my manager, because at first
Oh,
it was
amazing.
her and I. Yeah, we were a duo, and we would perform like in small festivals and just like all around like these small towns. And eventually like she had to move away for university.
Hmm.
And she loves music, but she realized that she liked the management side a lot more. And so it kind of just like naturally progressed into me becoming a solo artist, and her taking the reins with management, until eventually now I'm being managed by her, and also another man. His name's Tim Jones. But yeah.
Amazing. And what
Yeah.
about your parents? Did they play? Because you said your mom was looking for the piano.
No, they don't. They don't play any instruments. They don't sing, but you know, they never really had the chance growing up to explore that. So who knows? Maybe sometimes I hear my dad singing, and I'm like, okay, I hear some good tone in, like, in your voice. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe they, like, if they got to explore that, they would have been able to do it, but they never did.
No. Yeah, maybe you can get them on like a backing vocal on one of your songs or something.
I would love that.
That'd be cool. You said your sister and you had your own duo. When did you guys form that?
I think we started back when I was around 8 and she was 11. Okay. And we were very, very young. We just did it like for talent shows and stuff. Like sometimes she would be playing the piano and I would be on the violin singing, or like she would just be singing on the guitar and I'd be on the piano. And we'd literally just go from like djembe to piano to guitar to violin. We would just like start swapping and having fun with it. Like it was never too serious. It was just because we loved doing it.
Yeah. Was it all just cover songs, or were you guys writing your own songs?
We were writing our own songs. Like, wow. I would say there was like, it was like half, where it's like half cover music and then half original stuff as well.
Wow. And what were those early performances? Just, you said talent shows and stuff. Were those the first times you were getting up on stage and performing for people?
Yeah, I started really young, especially with piano talent shows as well, because
like recitals.
Exactly, yeah. And sometimes there were even like separate things where people could like play the instrument that they're like, you know, learning how to play at these talent events. And I always play the piano first, and then eventually I wanted to sing and play the piano. So that's kind of like how I got into that world of performing.
Okay. And when you formed the duo with your sister, how long did that go on for? You said you guys were playing like festivals and stuff. You must have had some sort of following and some sort of thing going on there.
Yeah, it was from like when I was 8 to around 15 years old. So it was like 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah, like it was quite 7-8 years. It was quite a long time.
Did you record a record and stuff?
No, not together. We never recorded anything together. The first thing I recorded was as a solo artist when I was 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 15 was the kind of the shift from being in the duo with your sister to doing your own things as a solo artist.
Yeah.
Okay. Exactly. And you said it was because your sister went to university. Is that kind of where the split happened?
It was like a lot of things. Yeah, she went to university and she moved away, so we couldn't practice together anymore. So whenever we'd have shows together, we were just kind of like running off of memory, and it just wasn't like, you know, we always wanted to be our best and like bring our best to the table. So we're like, okay, if we're not getting enough time to practice, you know, maybe I should start doing some shows alone. And then she like never loved performing as much as I did. And so she just like always loved the business side, learning more about that. Like that's just like how her brain was. And she loves music too. So she just always wanted to like still be involved. And I also wanted her to be involved because she has like such a great ear for things. And so that's kind of how it progressed into that. And wow. Yeah, like I'm really, really happy that we both found like our world, and it was just like a really natural like progression into that.
Yeah. And that's amazing that she's still, you know, very much a part of what you're doing, like she was, you know, with the duo that you guys had. That's really awesome.
Thank you.
So from when you started your solo career, what was the first show that you did like by yourself, and were you performing songs that you had written by yourself, or were you still playing some of the songs that you had written with your sister?
That I remember one of the first shows that I did by myself was just like another festival where Samia, my older sister, she was like, okay, you know what, you do this one by yourself, like you have the time to practice for it and do it by yourself. And so I remember it was just like another like small town festival, and I performed by myself for the first time, and it was really weird. I was like, oh my gosh, like because I would only be by myself like at home. So I was like, I'm in front of a crowd now doing this on my own. It was a little bit scary and nerve-wracking, but it was just as natural. So I was really happy.
That's amazing. Yeah, you're much more vulnerable sitting up there by yourself than having your sister to kind of fall back or lean on a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. And okay, so you start, you know, doing those early shows by yourself solo. When did things start picking up for you? Like when did you go record your first stuff? Tell me that story a little bit.
Yeah, when I was still in the process of like kind of being a solo artist slash like still performing with my sister, I remember doing another talent show where basically after I had won, I was able to record a song. That was like the prize.
So you did a talent show and you won the talent show. I want to hear this story. That's awesome.
Thank you. I was able to, and the funny thing is I had no intention of ever doing it. I remember just being at school and this guy comes up to me and he's like, oh, have you ever heard of this? And I was like, no. He's like, you should really apply and try it out. And I was like, okay, sure, why not? And it was usually, it's like usually battle of the bands. And so it was the first year that they had allowed just like single acts and also duos to like apply as well. So I was like, oh wow, this is so weird, like that this would happen all at once, and that this guy's. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna apply. And so I did. You had to kind of send in, you know, like a little audition tape, and so I did. And then I ended up performing, and I was really shocked because I had won, and I was like, this is the first time that I've ever won something like this. And that wasn't classical piano because like usually I'm just used to playing the piano at these talent shows. So I won like the opportunity to record a song. So I wanted to, that's when I recorded one of my first singles when I was like 15 years old, a year later after the talent show.
What single was that?
It's called Knock on My Door.
Okay, yeah. That's the first song you put out?
Yeah, and it's off of like DSPs now because it just wasn't like the sound that, you know, I am right now, and just like the beginning, so I was still exploring things. But yeah, it's called Knock on My Door, and I remember when the song had hit like 1 million streams on Spotify, I was just like, I couldn't believe it because I never plan on anything ever happening. Like I just honestly like I would just kind of go about things and just do things because I love them. And anytime something like really significant would happen, I would just be like, how did I even get here? How did this happen? You know?
Whoa. So that song had over 1 million plays? That first one you put out. Oh my gosh. You just threw it up on Spotify. Did it get playlisted? Do you have any idea how it started gaining that traction?
No, I don't think it got playlisted. I think what happened is like, I think it became like it got bigger and bigger within the community here, and
like it kind of organically grew.
Yeah, and started getting played on like radios and stuff. And I just remember people being like, oh, I love this song, like I play it at camp, or we always listen to it in the car. And I just couldn't wrap my head around the fact that people were lilistening to the song that I had wrote.
Yeah, that's really cool. Whoa.
It was like the first time that I've ever done something like that, so it was really exciting.
Pretty validating that you are actually doing what you should be doing, I'm sure, if you're getting 1 million plays on a song.
Yeah, it was very exciting. And, you know, after that, I ended up recording, because I've been writing ever since I was like 6 years old. And I started recording more stuff that I had written over the years. And then that's when I came out with My Heart's Grave when I was 16. And that song is still up there, so people can still hear it. And after that, like everything just progressed into me getting signed. And I first got signed to an agency, like a booking agency, and then I got signed when I was actually 17, a week before my 18th birthday.
Oh, you got signed? Is that when you signed to Atlantic?
Yes, like a week before my 18th birthday.
Oh my gosh, how cool. So with the talent agency that you got signed to, was that because of the success of that first song that you put out? Is that why they reached out to you? Do you remember?
Yeah, well, one of my managers, his name is Tim, he basically started to kind of like get phone calls like from people who were interested from hearing like my music or seeing my name, because there were other contests that I had been a part of growing up, like songwriting contests, and one was called Unsigned Only, and I ended up winning those too.
No, yeah, I just won them, you know, no big deal.
Oh my gosh. So like people just started hearing my name being tossed around more, I guess. So then people would, I don't know, they were a little more curious to find out about me. So that's how the agency had found out about me.
Okay. And when you got signed to the agency, did they just open up more doors for you as far as getting bigger shows, or like what happened first for you there? That must have been a pretty big milestone to get on that agency.
Yeah, I was still in high school at the time, so I wasn't able to do anything too crazy.
That's
So it was
crazy
kind of,
in
kind of
itself.
yeah, it was just really slow. Still because I couldn't miss school. Like that was like a really big thing for me, is that I didn't want to miss school. I didn't want to be like falling behind, because I'm like such a big book book person. Like I took it very seriously. And so if I performed, it'd have to be on weekends. So I still stayed within Manitoba mostly and did stuff here.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't until I was around, yeah, like the summer where I got signed that I started to kind of travel outside. Yeah, outside of this province.
Okay. Well, tell me about getting signed to Atlantic. You said you're 17 years old, like just before you turn 18. Were you still in high school at that
Yeah,
point as well?
it was right after I graduated. I remember I had kept everything very secret because I just didn't want to like get, my friends and stuff hopes up. And
Oh, yeah.
because you never really know until it happens. And so I remember keeping it so secret. I was so just like anxious because I was like, oh my God, these like nobody knows what's happening right now, but I really hope that it happens because this is like super cool.
Uh-huh.
And I remember even before I got signed, we had talks about me collabing with David Guetta. So that was another
Oh,
thing
wow.
that I just remember being so surreal and just like such a huge honor. And after I graduated, I remember I signed the papers like a week after, not even. And it was just like the beginning of a really crazy journey.
Yeah. Wow. Tell me about signing the papers, just finally having it done. That must have been, tell me the feeling where you're just like, whoa, like
I just
crazy.
remember like my whole family was with me. It was just a really special moment. We were just like, what is even happening? Because I can tell you, I never had the intention of getting signed. I actually wanted to I just never ever wanted to do it until I started it was just super like my manager was like, oh, these people are calling in. There was a few labels interested. And I just remember being like, what is even happening? Until I met them and I loved, everyone. And I was like, you know what, this is right for me. This is the right decision. And I made sure that my team was, like people that I could really trust with my project and just in general. So that's when I decided to do it. I had never really had the intention of going out there and trying to get signed one day, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You didn't think that it was going to, like, that would be your journey in life, so to
No,
speak.
I just made music because I loved it. And then I realized no, you know what? I want to really take this very, very seriously and make this my career.
Yeah, it seems like, I mean, obviously other people liked your music as well, or a million
Thankfully.
people wouldn't be playing it, that first song. So you get signed to Atlantic. And did they move, from there, did they have you go to LA and start like writing with people, or they put you on a tour? What'd they do first for you?
So the first summer was just all writing. I wrote for 2 months and then I had to be like, okay, well, now I'm going back to Manitoba because I'm starting university in the fall. And it was just like a very unique situation because I'm based in Canada, my label is down in LA. And so it was a lot of long distance stuff during the year. And I was in engineering as well, still in engineering. And so it was just kind of like a lot on my plate. And so we just had to find a way to balance things as best as possible. So summer was solely for music. Like every single day I was writing, trying to do press. And I did a few shows in the summer, but not much the first summer. And then during the school year, during my reading weeks, that's when I would start flying out to do press in either Toronto or LA or just in Manitoba as well, or Montreal. And then the first year went by, then I had a 4-month summer because university ends 2 months before high school did.
High school.
And so I had a longer summer to do stuff and to write. And then university started again. And it was 2 years of
Writing, school, kind of writing.
Yeah. And I was going to do a lot more shows this summer, but unfortunately everything got canceled to Corona, due to Corona. And then, yeah, it was going to be a little bit of a different summer, but I ended up writing some more. Here we go. Like, it ended up being the same thing, just like from back home instead of in LA.
Right. Okay. So you've been
Yeah.
writing now since you've been quarantined, obviously.
Every single day I've been writing. Like I've done, I think I counted like 60 writing sessions for the past few months. Like it's been a lot of work, but I've written some of my favorite songs ever. So I've just been really surprised, honestly, because at first when I started doing Zoom sessions with people, it just felt very unnatural. And I think everyone felt that way. Like you're just looking at someone through a screen, trying to write music. It's just not how you usually do things. And so at first I was like, how am I ever gonna write something that I love? Like, this is so weird. But now I'm like, how am I ever gonna go back? I got so used to writing on Zoom. Like, yeah.
That's gonna be weird being back in a room with somebody writing.
Exactly, yeah. Like, I just like wake up, like make breakfast, you know. I don't get ready or anything. I'm just like, you know, I just get cleaned up, come around, sit on my computer. I'm like, all right, let's go.
That's cool. That's really cool. And you have a new EP out, Stripped, which is like some old songs reworked, like acoustic, right? And then you have a new one on there as well.
Yep.
Okay. Tell me about the new record.
Yeah, so Stripped is really special to me because there are songs that I wrote, like there's a song that I wrote on there that is called Bad Dreams, and I was 14 when I wrote it. So like that was the first song that, like, to me, that I was like, this really sounds like my sound, and I really love it, like enough for it to be out someday. And I have songs on there that are super recent too. And so it's kind of just like from 14 to 20 years old, like these are like the acoustic songs that I really love the most to put out. And I always was known as like an acoustic artist, like it was just me and my piano and the stage. And that was just kind of like what it was for a really, really long time, until I wanted to start performing up front more and doing some of that. So I think there will always be like me, just the acoustic side of my music. And so that's why Stripped, I thought it was really important that it's my first project out, you know, because it's kind of just my roots and me. And yeah, it was my first thing that I've ever like put together. So
yeah, it's like your first like official EP, right? Because everything else you had put out prior were mainly singles.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Wow, that's really exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that Stripped is out. You just released it. You put it out during quarantine. Was that strange for you to finally put your first project out and we're inside?
Yeah. I mean, everything, like 2020 has been very strange. So like if something, honestly, nothing even, like everything goes over my head. I'm like, yeah, this is weird, but like so is everything else right now. Like, so whenever I had no intention of, you know, releasing my Stripped EP during quarantine, but it just
happened
like
that way.
it happened, and you know, everything just feels like the right way to be going about things. Like I still want to release music. There's a lot of stuff happening in the world, and you know, I just want to try to bring as much positivity as I can and bring music out to the world and still keep going. And
love it.
Through.
Yeah. And you've had a chance to work with, like you did a song for Kelly Clarkson. Tell me about that. You got to sing it in Arabic, right?
Yes, I got to go back to my roots for that song, which was really cool. I remember getting a phone call saying that she was doing a project and basically doing this song in 6 different languages. And I remember being so amazed, because I was like, I've never heard of anybody doing this before, because she was going to be also singing in those different languages. And
I didn't know that. That's cool.
yeah, it's super cool. Like she's honestly the coolest, and she's so talented. And I grew up listening to her, so it was such a huge honor that she wanted me to be a part of this. And so I translated the lyrics with my parents. It was a lot of fun. And it was a little bit tricky because the way that things sound in Arabic, sometimes we use different melodies to go with the words. But
the inflections are probably different, and like the the sentence structure, I bet, is different.
Exactly. So we had to try to fit it into like this English type melody. And so the words were like, sounded like a little bit different than what like a usual Arabic song would sound like. But we had a lot of fun with it, and I got to meet Kelly Clarkson, and
Wow.
yeah, she was just like, we were in the studio together, and I was just like helping her out with how to say some certain words and stuff. And it was just a lot of fun, and honestly something that I'm always going to remember. It was super cool.
Wow. Yeah. So you had to teach her how to say the certain, like how the words were pronounced and everything when she's singing it. Did you do like a demo, like a rough track
Yeah.
for her?
Yes. So I first started off by singing the whole thing, so that she would kind of, whatever parts she wanted to take in the song, whether like she would take the first verse or the second verse, she would just have like a track behind her to know how to pronounce. And when I met up with her, it was just kind of like fine tuning, just like small things here and there, for certain words that needed a little bit more work. But that was, yeah, it was really surreal.
Wow. What a cool experience to have.
Yes, thank you.
What do you think the biggest milestone has been so far in your career? Like the biggest moment,
Oh,
like, oh my
man.
God.
That's a good question. Honestly, everything has been happening in such a like slow progression, where I never really noticed, like, everything seems like significant in its own way. Like when I
Sure.
first got signed, and then when I worked with David Guetta, and then when I released my first single, like everything has been somehow just a really like perfect progression. And clearly, like, obviously there's like ups and downs and failures and stuff, but like everything has just kind of slowly been like a build up like this. And so right now, I don't even know if there was like the one defining moment. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I
Yeah. A
don't
lot of
know
little victories, kind of not little. I mean, you've done some massive things, but
that.
I guess in your own, mind, you're like, okay, well, I worked with him and then I got to do this and I got signed to a
Yeah,
label.
ever since I was like super young, everything has just been a progression. And I'm just like, these really, really crazy events just are all like, have all worked hand in hand to kind of bring me to where I am right now.
That's amazing. And I did see that you have another new song out. It's called Secrets. And is that going to be part of another project?
Yes.
Because I noticed that that's separate from obviously the stripped EP, because that was acoustic. But tell me about this new song, Secrets.
Yes. So Secrets was kind of my little quarantine project.
Okay.
I wrote the song the first time that I was in LA, and we kind of were just like sitting on it. We were not sure if we're going to release it or not. And we realized that, like, okay, well, this is probably the best time to release it, because really, what else can we do? So we filmed a video for it, and it was just like, it was a lot of fun. It was like my first, it was my second quarantine music video. The first one I filmed when I was at home, and then Secrets I filmed when they opened things back up. It wasn't fully opened back up, but like it was still very strict, but we took all the precautions and stuff to make sure that it was safe. It was my first like outside music video where it wasn't at home.
Oh, okay. So the first music video you had ever done was one that you shot in quarantine?
Oh no, sorry.
Oh, okay.
My first single, called Wake Me When It's Over, that was the first one that I wrote, like that I released in quarantine specifically.
Oh, okay. I got it. Wow. Was it cool shooting the video in quarantine?
Yeah, it felt like when I was really
Back
young.
to your roots?
Exactly, yeah. It felt like I was super young again, making videos in my living room. And then when I watch it, like, well, to everyone that watched it, it seems like new, because no one's ever seen like my house before. But to me,
Right.
it feels like I'm just watching a video that I made when I was really young, you know?
Yeah. Like an
Yeah,
old home movie.
exactly. And I'm just like, I can't shake the fact that it looks like a home like music video that I made when I was like 12.
I think people like that, to be honest. I personally do. I think the one thing that I somewhat enjoy about the quarantine is being able to have these conversations with people like you and see, like, in your house, like there's a piano behind you, and
Yeah.
like, it's just a cool kind of behind the curtain look at, some of your favorite artists, like
Thank
living
you.
situation or studio, or it's kind of cool. So I bet your fans like really dig that. Whoa, that's her room in her house, and like, how cool.
Yeah, and there was like my bookshelf, and people could see even like my Moroccan living room. And yeah, it was just like really like a really cool like look inside my childhood.
Sure. Yeah, that's really awesome. And it's really cool that you are like willing to open that door and expose that to your fan base, because I know, I mean, you have a huge following on social media, and to be like, yo, this is my house, like,
Yeah,
I think that takes some courage.
yeah, for sure, because it's just like very vulnerable, but it's a really big part of me. Like those books, that living room, that piano, that everything that was in that video has shaped me to be who I am. Like I couldn't be more, like I couldn't have had any music video that would have shown that or showcased that more than, you know, Wake Me When It's Over. And it was really cool to share that with my fans, because they're just the sweetest, and you know, they're always wanting to learn more, and they're genuinely just like super curious about who I am as a person. And so I felt like it was a really special moment.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, I'm really sure your fans really enjoyed it, and being able to see that part of you in your life. I think that's really cool.
I hope so. Yeah.
And then did you do like, are you doing like a live concert for the Stripped album?
Yes, I'm
okay.
so
Tell me
excited.
about this. Has this happened yet, or is it going to happen? Tell me about it.
I announced it like a few hours ago. But yeah, I had, like I said, I had so many shows planned out this summer, like around the world. It was the first time that I was ever gonna just kind of like do this many shows and have, you know, visit so many places in a short period of time. And I was so excited about it. And I didn't even get to announce everything that I had planned out before everything just started getting canceled. And so I was like, you know what? Let's bring the concert to people. Like if I can't go and perform, you know what? We're gonna do this for this Stripped EP, and kind of give everyone a taste of the acoustic side of things. So we wanted to make it very like grand, and we filmed it at the Burton Cummings Center, and that's like this really beautiful we have here in Winnipeg. It's super historical and just very, very, like, it looks majestic and beautiful. And so that was a perfect place for us to film it. And it was a really long day, because, you know, when you're shooting from different camera angles, you need to perform a bunch. But yeah, it was like my first live full content piece performance, and I'm just like, I really hope people like it. And yeah, it was a lot of work, but I'm excited to see what people think.
Very exciting. And you do the whole Stripped EP?
Yeah, and an extra surprise.
Ah, very cool. Very exciting. How is that? Did you have to just play to an empty room?
Yeah, like it was completely empty except for, like, you know, the piano player, his name is Pharaoh. There was also the cameraman, and
just, yeah, like the crew there and you.
My family. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Was it weird playing to nobody? I mean, like, was it hard to kind of get the passion and the emotion into the songs with just like bare audience?
Yeah, it was a different type of vibe, because when there's an audience, you know, you're kind of reacting off of their reactions, and it's just like a constant flow of, you know, exchanging energy. But when it's an empty crowd, it was really just like all in my head. Like I just kind of got lost in the music, and it felt like just performing at home to no one.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. I can't wait to see it. Do you have like a date that you're going to put it out?
Right now, we're still figuring that out, but
okay, just a little tease today.
Yeah, the details will be announced very soon.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see it. And I love the videos, the other videos you have on your Instagram page, singing and stuff. Have you been doing quite a few like little live stream videos?
Yes. I always make a fool of myself on my live streams. So I always tell myself, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go on and I'm going to calm down. Like, I need to just be chill. Like, you're going to scare people. And then whenever I go on live, I'm like, and I'm just singing, like I'm moving around, dancing around. But the fun part about those lives is that I get to talk to people. And since I can't really go out there and meet my fans, it's nice to just go on and meet them through Instagram Live. So that's a really big plus. And also I like making singing videos and posting them, like whether they're covers or whether they're my own songs. I just like to sing and share it with people.
Well, that's amazing. Well, yeah, thank you for sharing that with us. We really appreciate it
Listening.
as a fan. Yeah, what you're doing is so awesome. I love your voice, and I love the stripped album. It's amazing. I'm shocked that that's your first like full project that you've put out. It's really, really good.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you so much for chatting with me today. I really appreciate that as well. It's been so much fun.
Me. You're so kind, and
thank you.
It's been a lot of fun speaking to you as well.
I have one more question before I let you go, if that's cool. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Honestly, I would say, okay, I'm just going to be very real because, so it's not easy. Like, it is the thing that comes the most, like the thing that comes easy the most is loving music and doing it because you love it. All the other stuff, whether it's like performing or press or all this stuff, takes up a lot of time, and it takes up a lot of energy. And so if you really, really love it, that stuff will also be like, you will wake up and you'll be excited to do it. But there are some days where you'll be super tired and it'll be a lot of work. And when you're writing all the time, if you're a songwriter, that also takes up a lot of energy and effort. But I can also promise that if you love it, it's more than worth it. And I would say to keep practicing. If you're a vocalist, keep practicing singing and never think like this is it. Like always think, how can I better my technique? How can I take care of my voice? How can I do this? How can I do that? Whether it's looking at YouTube videos or whether you're just like practicing alone at home. And I would say, always try to one-up yourself. Like that's my rule. I'm like, okay, this is what I've done now. How can I do something better? Like I want to always be better and to always one-up myself. And I would also say, stay true to yourself, because there are a lot of times where there's a lot of opinions, a lot of different people trying to, pull you in this direction or that direction. And it can be a little bit confusing, but you just need to always think back, like, what to do this and stick with that. And that's kind of what's helped me a lot. Like, I'm like, this is why I'm doing this. I just want to help people. I just want to release music and, just have that. That's why I'm doing this. I'm not doing it for this or that or this. You know what I'm saying? Stick to your true self, and also be kind to the people you work with, to the people you're interacting with. Like mostly everyone has your best interest at heart. And so just be kind and be yourself. Bring me back word.